All right, welcome back on Africa Business Radio. We're getting to the very interesting part of this show this morning, and that's our guest segment. I have someone very interesting with me in the studio. Now, if you are a business person, say an entrepreneur, a 9-to-5, whatever it is you're doing in the business world now, it is imperative to realize that it is very important for you to work on your customer service. You want to achieve rock solid customer service. And that's what our conversation today is going to be about. We'll be talking around customer experience and entrepreneurship. And I've got Chukwuma Obodo with me in the studio.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
morning. Thank you so much for making it here this morning.
Thanks, Rachel. Good morning, everyone. Hope we're good.
We're fantastic. All right, so let's get into the conversation. I think for me, I'd like to start with defining or measuring, or how do you measure something as intangible as customer experience? It's not easy because it's quite objective.
True.
And it's dependent on something that's I don't know, customer behavior, human behavior is not something you can just measure with this or with that. So how do you measure customer experience? How do you define it?
Okay. Thank you so much, Rachel, and thanks for having me here. First and foremost, you look good.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. So, you, at this point in time, I am your customer, right? For every person we meet and interact with, either officially or unofficially, you're either buying something or you're selling something. I got here today. I never met you before. I asked for your name. You told me your name. Rachel, I told you my name. Chuks. At that point, there's an exchange. We exchange names. Now, let's take that to the business world. How do you... the question is, how do we measure? Let's start with, what is customer experience?
Okay.
For every contact that a customer has with your business, they have an experience, either good or bad. It is measuring that in line with the customer's expectation. That's the key. The customer's expectation. So two people could walk into a business today. They have different expectations and they would get satisfied differently. So you're right, it's quite subjective. But how do you know an organization with good customer experience? Your bottom line, your profit, your customer base, your retention, customer churn. You don't tend to lose a lot of people, and then it's easy for your customers to do business with you. Very important. Ease of doing business. So these are the ways by which you measure customer experience.
Right. So you're looking at customer expectation, right?
Yes.
And you're going to have to meet or come across 1,001 different people. And so the question that'll come to the mind of the business owner or the entrepreneur is, okay, what strategy do I implement? I'll have to implement very different or various strategies for different people, right?
Yeah.
So
sure.
what questions do I need to ask as an entrepreneur based on the strategy to implement for this customer or for that customer?
Okay. So the big thing is this, right? Let's keep it simple. If you want to know what your customers want, you need to ask them. Let's go practical. Have you ordered food from anywhere between now and last week, last month, anywhere?
Yes.
Okay, where?
Chicken Republic.
Chicken Republic. Did you use an app or you called?
I had to use an app.
Used an app. Good. So this is an experience. Chicken Republic, as at 15 years ago, they had just brick and mortar. If you want to eat from Chicken Republic, you need to walk into Chicken Republic. Maybe there's a little queue or it's a bit far from you. Place your order. If you're lucky, you get someone nice to attend to you, or someone would attend to you like he or she's doing you a favor. Sometimes by the time you get that food, maybe the break you gave yourself or your official break is an hour, it's gone. But in this case, you had to order maybe with an app earlier, right, than when you wanted it. 45 minutes, an hour later, it came in. Typical example again is online food business these days, right? So I won't be mentioning names because nobody's paying your organization, for that. No need throwing brands. But I know brands here on the island that make more money than Mr. Biggs. Tantalizers. I remember when we started. Have you tantalized her lately? These days, you don't see any adverts on those things anymore. Why? Because they've stopped asking their customers for what they want. They assume, every business assumes that you know what the customer wants, but it's not true. We need to ask and we'll receive.
All right, so we're looking at the first thing now. I think the first thing we've said today is to measure customer experience, you need to look at the character or the expectation of the customer. Yes. Expectation. And then to know the expectation or to know what strategy to use for which customer or that customer is to ask.
Just ask.
Just simply ask.
It's as simple. Okay, ladies making hair. It's something which a lady takes extra attention to. You can't just come and you tell somebody sees you on the street and says, I can make your hair. No, you have somebody. It's a thing which you pay attention to. It's very personal to you. Not anybody can just come, right? You would see some people with one hairdresser for 10 years, for 20 years. It's not because the styles change. I remember way back, my elder ones, the styles they make for their hair, their names like Patewo, Teacup and Saucer. I'm talking of in the 80s. Today, my sisters want to wear Patewo and Teacup and Saucer. But the hairdressers keep improving what they know. They learn new things. They ask. My sisters tell them that, Mama Shagun, this is not what I want to. This is what I want to. And then they go, learn those things, and then they use on their head. They've been loyal to these people for like 30-something years. So after you ask, what do you do with the response the customer gives to you? Some ask and just put it on the table, but some others ask and they go ahead to implement.
Right. Okay. A good one there. Now, I'm really going to give it to businesses and entrepreneurs, whether tech, whether food delivery, buy and sell. This guy is actually improving every day, which is why I want to bring technology into this. Tech has acted as an enabler.
True.
For raising the bar in customer experience. It has led to, I think it has made consistency in delivery even better. Now, I don't know whether to use Nigeria as a case study or just use the entire African space, but what do you think? How much do you think, or how much part do you think technology has played so far?
I'll give you two short stories. The first one is story of two hotels. The first hotel is big, no name mentioned, really big, top 3 in the country. And when you're done lodging, you're about leaving, the hotel gives you paper to rate the experience. The second hotel, they're not big, they're not even up to average. But when you're done, they use WhatsApp. They send you a link on your WhatsApp number. There's Google Forms attached to that link. I'm bringing technology down to its basic. WhatsApp is free. Google Forms is free. And then you fill just short 5 surveys. How well would you recommend us to someone else? How would you rate your experience? How's the food? How's the quality of staff? Were we helpful or were we nice to you? That's all. 5. You find out that the one that uses WhatsApp and Google Forms occupancy rate is about 95%. Sometimes you go to that hotel, they don't have space, they don't have rooms. The power of technology. But the other big and mighty, no, they're still struggling for occupancy. Right? So that's the role that technology is an enabler, but businesses need to know what technology to deploy. It's not all about money. It's not all about enterprise software. I'm an Android developer, so I understand the technology landscape in customer experience, but strip it down and look for the barest minimum you need. You can scale up later on.
Right. So what do you think needs to change now? I mean, we've looked at a couple of businesses, what they're doing wrong and what they're doing right.
Yeah.
What should change?
Approach. Before we even come to technology, approach should change. So it brings me to the second short story. I once worked in telecoms, no name dropping, was really big, and the target was about 200 million naira. But where I was put to manage was producing about 86 million. That's really good money, monthly. And I was told to just maintain status quo. I don't know how to maintain things. It can either be better or otherwise. Now, I would park my car, had a car and a driver, park along the streets. I would talk to everybody selling airtime. I'm talking of a wide expanse of area in Lagos, Nigeria, from Maltu to Semeboda. I knew everybody that was selling airtime. I knew their spouses. I knew their children. I knew their birthdays. I'm not kidding you. I knew their birthdays. I knew their favorite food. That's customer experience. They are my customers. And I needed to connect with them. I needed to know the expectation. Plus and minus. Do you know my sales jumped from 86 million monthly to 1.6 billion naira.
That's a lot.
Monthly. It's on record. I got awards from South Africa, from here and there for that. And we maintained it for 13 months. 1.62, 1.68. So that's the importance of getting customer experience right. Get the process right first. Leave technology out of it. What we did way back then was just Excel sheet, right? I had the customers on Excel sheet, and then my rubber was on the road. The soles of my feet was on the road, hitting the road, meeting the customers, the people that would buy from the telco, one by one. The rest is history. So first and foremost, for the listeners out there, no matter how big or how small your business is, you must first see the need for customer experience. The customer is not just king. The customer is all. Today, before now, you might feel as
just to
the
take
media
it back a little bit. Sorry, you mentioned the customer is all, and there's always this issue of does this have anything to do with the customer is always right? Because you could argue about this the entire day. One party would say, oh no, that's not the case. The other would say, well, the customer is king, we're always right. And it can be very frustrating for business owners. So does that have anything to do with the customer is always right?
I've had a case where a customer was insisting I sack his staff, let go of his staff, recommend to HR, or else I will not get this amount of business. It's business that if we collected then, I was in real estate, it would pay our salaries for 10 years. We're made.
Tough decision.
Is the customer king? So I called her, got to HR, we investigated, and found out it was just ego thing. She wasn't wrong. Tough call. It's on record. I didn't let go of that stuff. Appeal to the customer. I went in person. I was chief operating officer to the man. Please, sir. She didn't err on the side of policy or humanity. I apologize. I will write a formal apology. He refused. And we walked. 2 years later, she was the most productive staff. What we could have gotten from him, we got from like 10 others, which diversified my risk. Right? Tough call. But for listeners out there, please, there's a balance to this conversation. Like you threw me.
I'm sorry about that, but you had mentioned the customer is always king.
Yes.
I had to really clear that one.
Yes. So there are boundaries. There are boundaries, right? A customer walks in and, gives you a dirty slap. I'm not saying you slap back. Companies have procedures for that.
Right.
Right, you escalate to your line manager, to security. The customer could be blacklisted. Kings also are not above the law, right? But in terms of business, ask that customer, how do you want me to serve you? Sometimes what you assume the customer wants from you is not what the customer. Most times we just assume. But if you ask. I think that's the message I would like everyone to take away from today's conversation. You just need to ask.
You don't need to crack your brain too much. Just ask and you get the answer.
Ask me, how are you? Fine. How are you? Not fine. Do you like my food in an eatery? No. What don't you like about it? And they will tell you.
Right. All right. It won't be fair to, round up this conversation without talking about the challenges that CX leaders face. If someone, now a CX leader or whoever is listening now, they would say, well, these things are not so easy. We face a lot of challenges. We are talking about investment in CX. It happens too slowly, they would tell you. They would also tell you that understanding how to measure CX improvement, we already talked about that one too, it can be quite tasking. So how do you recommend they tackle these challenges, starting with investment in CX?
Beautiful. It's a problem which will not go away by waving a wand. First and foremost, business leaders want to see return on investment. Everybody needs to see, if I'm going to put this investment into CX or any project, this is what I'm going to get back. So what I do in tandem with my practice, a member of the global body for CX. I'm also a member of the European Customer Experience Association. Clearly, what I suggested to my group to do, because I faced this like 2, 3 times in my career path, what are the business goals? So the business is now my customer as the Chief Customer Experience Officer. For a company, what do you want to achieve for 2021? Oh, your listener base, you want to increase your listener base. Your corporate clients, you want to increase your corporate clients. So I take these business goals and then we measure what's already existing. They're tangible. How many customers do you have? Let's see a trend, right? I'm a numbers person. I love analyzing data. The last 5 years, which is a problem in Africa, we don't really keep data. The last 5 years, what have you achieved in your top 7 business metrics? And then this is what CX can help you do. Maybe churn. Your churn rate is maybe 45%. CX, it's not magic wand, but these are the processes we'll take. It should drop our churn rate from 45. First year to maybe 42, second year to maybe 40, third year, you can now see a leap. And these things are measurable. So you need to convince management or the board of an impact by first understanding what the company wants to achieve.
Yes.
And then align your strategies to that.
Right. And that too is one challenge that CX leaders face, lack of information.
Yes. Oh, Africa is too. Talking about Africa, I've led companies both here in Kenya, in Ghana, South Africa. I think South Africa has one of the best data keeping structures, right? The African man, often than not, lives one day at a time. But multinationals, they know the importance of data. So you see multinationals have these very good data centers, right? let's bring it home. You walk into a bank or an organization. It didn't happen here. And I was really smiling. I've just been observing. You walk into maybe like a bank or an organization, they give you a register to impute your name, phone number. What did they do with that? I've always asked.
Maybe they'll need to come back to you or reach out to you to know, okay, how was the service or whatnot.
Most people, most banks
do nothing with it.
Nothing. Nothing. It's just in one book. They filed
to
it
fulfill our righteousness.
I've even engaged security men. I say, "Okay, come on. Why are you taking out my name?" They say, "Is protocol."
Okay.
Say, protocol. This is gold to me. This is gold mine. You are calling protocol, right?
Yeah.
So in Africa, data collection, data mining. It's really a big problem.
We have a bad habit with that, I
Yes.
guess.
If someone in tech comes up today to say, oh, you know what, I have a solution, affordable solution, that everybody coming in, right, just 2 steps or 3 steps, I have your details. You can now mine all of that.
All right, so we've been talking customer experience and entrepreneurship with Chukwuma Obodo. We'll have to wrap up this conversation here. We're short for time. Thank you so much for making it here. It's been an amazing conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay here.